Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, where we discuss everything there is to know in the wide world of baseball. My name is Ben.
And my name is Jeremiah.
That was like so dramatic there.
Yeah. I almost wanted to say Slim Shady for a minute, but then I realized,
Hi, my name is what?
My name is Wicca Slim Shady.
Your name is Jeremiah.
I thought you were going to say G-Unit. I don't know why.
G-Unit? No.
G-Unit?
Seeing as how your name starts with a J, that just wouldn't
I don't know why. I just thought you were, and I'm kind of glad you didn't. That would have been weird.
Yeah, that wouldn't have really worked out. So
it wouldn't have worked out. I'm kind of glad you didn't. But we have a lot to talk about. I know the season ended about a couple weeks ago, but baseball never stops.
No, we talked about it last week.
There is no off season for us.
Well, there is an off season, but it's one of the shorter off seasons. And really, even right after the off season, we have the awards, which we're going to be talking a lot about on the show today. Then you have like already the primary free agency starting on. You have winter meetings coming up, which will include more free agency, a lot of the big blockbuster deals, some rule changes. Then you have spring training right after that already. So there is an off season, but really, like if you're a general manager, there is no off season because it's every single day you're trying to strengthen the club in some sort of way.
Yeah. So we're going to get things started here. Talking about Rookie of the Year?
Yes, as well
as Manager of the Year.
But
we're going to start with the Rookie of the Year award winners. In the National League, I think it comes as no surprise that Corey Seager was named Rookie of the Year in the National League. Like, he was pretty much a clear-cut favorite. The fact that he was a finalist for MVP should pretty much tell you what kind of year he had, because he was practically a stud. And Corey Seager looks like he's on his way to becoming that face of the Los Angeles Dodgers franchise, who made the playoffs despite injuries, which we'll talk about too in the Manager of the Year segment. But Seager, he was just unbelievable. You know, he's only 22 years old. He batted .308, 26 home runs, 72 RBIs, had 105 runs. And his team won the NL West title. So his WAR. This is the thing I always look at when I always analyze players. His WAR, wins above replacement, was 6.1. That was the fourth best in the National League.
Yeah, he's a great young player, really a guy the Dodgers can build around in that rotational player, not just you have Kershaw, obviously the pitching staff, now you have a Seager in the field, just a young shortstop. So just an absolutely fantastic season. I'd honestly say he was the most consistent Dodger player all year long, which coming from a rookie, something you don't normally see. He's an MVP finalist. I don't think he's going to win that award.
He's not going to win it, but the fact that he was a finalist.
Exactly. That says it all. Just to be a finalist, you already knew that this award was going to be gifted to him. There's no real surprise there. So congrats to Corey Seager, the shortstop of the Dodgers. So now we move over to the American League side. This is a guy I expected to win. We did our predictions a while back just briefly about all of these awards. So Michael Fulmer, the pitcher of the Detroit Tigers, is your American League Rookie of the Year. Fulmer this year had an 11-7 record, a very impressive 3.06 ERA, which is up there with some of the best in the American League for a rookie. Pretty good. 11-7 record-wise is, not necessarily the greatest thing, but still a really good season. Started 26 games, through 159 innings, had 132 strikeouts. So Michael Fulmer is your American League Rookie of the Year, but I'd say the biggest story involving Fulmer is what he does outside of baseball. Now
it's pretty. It's a story. Let's just say it. It's quite a story.
So now you have the season over, so you have a little bit of an off season. Obviously, the pitchers and catchers won't report to spring training till about early February. So he has, give or take 3.5 months now to do other things. So obviously you have guys who are just the wily veterans who are kind of resting, just healing their bodies up until they go back in there, staying in shape, maybe doing some traveling, some vacation with their families. Well, Fulmer is already off doing something else. So Michael Fulmer, at the young age of 23, he's actually doing some plumbing.
Yes, and no, we're not joking. And not for himself, for other people, and we're not joking about that, people. Anthony Finch from the Detroit Free Press wrote a story about Michael Fulmer's second job as a plumber, and this is what he says. This is what Anthony Finch reported on. He was in backyards around Oklahoma City area, digging ditches, changing sewer lines, replacing old Orangeburg pipes with new PVC pipes, and basements exchanging water heaters, and kitchens replacing sinks and faucets, and bathrooms fixing leaky toilets. So he's doing it all.
Yeah, he's been doing this for his friend's uncle's business. He started doing it after last season. He was obviously done in the minors, so started doing this on the side. Fulmer this year, although just a rookie, earned $500,000 as part of his salary. So if he keeps up the play he did this year, obviously 11-7 ERA, just above 3, he's going to be earning a nice paycheck in the next few years. So
he probably won't still stop doing plumbing. I feel like he's not going to stop.
Once he gets the dough, I don't think he's going to clean out the toilets no mo.
Oh, okay. Mo.
Seriously,
no,
500 grand's not bad. That's definitely something I could live off of, and I'm sure Fulmer is. I think he just kind of likes doing this. I mean, he's been doing it probably for a couple of years now. Something he probably just likes, but I think this is the best story. When I read this, like, oh, Michael Fulmer is like the rookie year, that's great, and then this story comes out like, wait, what? And like if you just look at the guy. He kind of looks like a plumber, you know what I mean? Like a long, scraggly beard, like this kind of husky, Caucasian male. Like he kind of looks like he would be a plumber. And like I said, I think once he finally gets like a nice raise, if he keeps his impressive pitching up, I don't think he'll be a plumber for much longer. But I guess he's got to do something to keep him busy. And I honestly, doing plumbing, I would think it would keep you in good shape. Digging ditches all day, that's got to add some strength, and changing pipes, so I guess that's a good story. I mean, if he likes it, there's nothing wrong with it, I guess.
It's definitely one of the most interesting stories of the probably one of the best stories of the offseason baseball. I think I remember I don't want to compare it to this story, but when I was doing the football show, I talked about I forgot the name of the player, but he used to play for the Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. And he used to play softball in this recreational league in Philadelphia. He went by the name of Nick Mahoney. I just thought that was funny. So I think that story, along with Michael Fulmer's stories, are probably the most interesting off-season stories I've heard this year. I just think it's not funny, because I don't think
it's kind of funny. This is something you would never see.
I'm not saying it's funny, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm making fun of him.
No, not at all. But just the story itself is pretty funny.
Yeah, like it's something that was unexpected. Yeah.
So I mean, it was pretty cool. But
I do think he has a bright future ahead of him in Detroit. Remember, he had that 14 start stretch that had 93 2/3 innings. What had a 1.44 ERA. That was probably the run that got him the award. Remember, he was probably the best pitcher on this staff for majority of the season.
I say really all year long consistently. Yeah. Verlander's obviously up there. He's a Cy Young finalist, 3.04 ERA. So he's equally up there. But I'd say Fulmer consistently all year probably the best pitcher for the Tigers.
Yeah, heading to next season, and I expect another big year out of him.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe if he'll be done fixing all those toilets in Oklahoma, then he'll be back on the mound for Detroit. But now we'll switch over to the National League and American League Managers of the Year. They were announced last night. I will tackle the American League one, really quickly, that will go to Tito Terry Francona of the Cleveland Indians. It's the second time he has won this award, both with the Indians, the first time in 2013. He led the Indians to the American League pennant, obviously, for the first time since 1997, just one game short of a World Series title with Cleveland, a division crown the first time since 2007, a 94-67 record. He said, "I'm honored. It also gives me a chance to brag about it to our guys. If someone thinks it's an individual award, it's the furthest thing from the truth. One, it's about incredible players. It's about the front office, the ownership, and the coaches who worked so hard every day. I wish we could take a bow together. So it's not just about me." So he's definitely saying the right things, staying really humble. And honestly, I'd say he's probably on a nice little track to becoming a Hall of Famer. Couple of Manager of the Year awards with the Indians, couple of World Series titles with the Red Sox. A good, solid manager.
Yeah, and let's not underestimate the fact that Francona's team overcame significant injuries this year. Let's not underplay that because that was huge. Because remember, they lost Michael Brantley. He was been regarded as a star of the team. Young Gomes, the starting catcher. Carlos Carrasco and Danny Salazar were gone for the majority of the year as well. And they still overcame those significant injuries to win the AL Central. I do think that's something that's been kind of underplayed a little bit this year for the Indians.
I agree. I think you can say a lot with the National League side, which you'll say in just a minute, but having to deal with injuries, having to overcome adversity. The Indians kind of going into the playoffs were the one American League team I think everyone kind of forgot about. Everyone talked about Texas. Everyone talked about Boston. And then it's like, oh, yeah, the Indians won the division. Like, yeah, they're there. No one really expected to see them come just one game within a World Series title against the Cubs, the best team all year. So I guess you have to speak a lot highly of Francona and how much influence he had on the team to even get them into that situation. So I'm not really surprised. I thought he would win it. He won it over Buck Showalter of the Orioles as well as the Rangers manager. So not really surprised there.
Yeah, not really surprised one bit. For the National League side, Dave Roberts, in his first year as manager for the Los Angeles Dodgers, becomes the sixth rookie manager to win the award. We talked about last week. We talked about the injuries that the Dodgers overcame to make the playoffs, to win that division. The Dodgers went 91-71 to win a fourth consecutive National League title. They reached the postseason 4 times for the first time in franchise history, but Roberts overcame Clayton Kershaw. We thought that was going to hold the Dodgers back out of the playoffs. There's just so much going on with this team, and we thought that the Giants at the time were going to run away with this division. Well, the Giants pretty much they couldn't sustain. They were very inconsistent throughout the September. But you got to tip your cap to Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts said, I think it's about the process. I think this is actually the first day I've had a chance to reflect on what happened from the first day of spring to now. And even after postseason, I don't really play the season out too much in my head. But I think to set goals, to play every out, and to try to get better, I think that is, as a group, as an organization, we did that. Obviously, we came up short in sense of winning a world championship, but I'm just proud of the way our guys battle adversity all year. So just imagine if this team stayed healthy. I think they would have made a serious run. They probably could have won that series against the Cubs, because remember, they were like, one game away from they're like, 2 games away from winning the NLCS?
Yes, game 6.
I think they could have probably give the Cubs a run for their money there, but you got to like where the Dodgers are heading next year. You got to like where they're heading.
Absolutely. I think, when you look at the Dodgers, you had 28 players go on the disabled list, 28 different players.
And then look at how they had to manage that rotation the whole year. They had, I don't know how many pitchers they had in the rotation. They
13 different players started the game.
It was just different combinations. But you got to tip your cap to Dave Roberts there. He did tremendously well what he had to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, 28 different players go on the disabled list. That's the most in the past 30 years. You lost Clayton Kershaw, the best pitcher in the game, for 75 days. He beat out Dusty Baker of the Nationals and Joe Madden of the Cubs. So maybe you could say Madden because he managed a team that had 103 wins this year. But honestly, I figured it would be Roberts to win it, and I expected him to, and I thought he should. Everything he overcame, it's almost like they got better when Kershaw went out, which is something you wouldn't normally see. You'd see it the other way around. So
yeah, that's,
I'm not surprised he won the award.
That's something that that's something that I saw that kind of spoke out to me, that they're very resilient when Kershaw went down, and that says a lot about the manager. Says a lot about that manager.
Absolutely. So we have Dave Roberts of the Dodgers on the NL side and Terry Francona of the Indians on the American League side for your managers of the year. So we'll take our first break right here at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. After the break, we will announce the Silver Slugger Awards at each position for both respective leagues right here at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We talked about the Manager and Rookie of the Year award winners in the first segment. Now Ben and I will talk about the Silver Slugger winners. So you're going to handle the American League, Ben. I'm going to handle the National League. Who you want to go first, or you want me to go? It don't matter to me.
I guess I'll go first with the American League winners.
Okay,
so we have Salvador Perez of the Royals taking the Silver Slugger Award for the catcher position. He also won the Gold Glove Award, so he's taken both there. At first base, no real surprise here. Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers. He's a former Triple Crown winner. He always puts up absolutely incredible numbers, so no real surprise there. At second base, we have Jose Altuve of the Astros. He also won the Gold Glove Award, and he's trying to complete the triple, just like Mookie Betts and Mike Trout are, who we'll talk about in a minute, trying to win the Gold Glove, the Silver Slugger, and the MVP. So we have Jose Altuve at the second base position for the Houston Astros in the American League side. We have the current American League MVP. That is until tomorrow when that award is announced. But Josh Donaldson at third base of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now moving on to shortstop, we have Xander Bogaerts of the Red Sox. A lot of Red Sox on this award. Obviously, how good of an offensive year they had, not real surprised. They do have three names in the American League side. So next brings me to the next one is Mookie Betts out there in the outfield position, Mike Trout of the Angels out there, and then Mark Trumbo of the Orioles, having a great year, a lot of home runs since he had to overcome a lot of injuries the year before. And then the DH, no real surprise, Big Papi David Ortiz of the Red Sox, who actually put in his retirement papers as of today. So he is officially retired. We knew he was going to, but you know how sometimes people have a change of heart. Not so much for Big Papi this year. He has officially retired.
Like, for example, Brett Favre. He did it
on numerous occasions.
He did it 5 times. I'm kidding. I exaggerated that. But anyways, you talked about Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, and Jose Altuve possibly getting the 3 big awards here. I think Altuve is probably going to get it. He's just been phenomenal this year. I'm going to be surprised if Mookie Betts would get it because his team made the playoffs. I would actually maybe surprised on Mike Trout win the MVP. And I know Mike Trout has been the most consistent hitter in the past few years, but his team was pretty bad. And I kind of think that's going to kind of deflate him a little bit. But clear-cut winner would be Jose Altuve. But looking at this list of guys here, very deserving as well. There's no argument here. And maybe you can say that maybe there's some snubs there, but I think everyone is much well deserving of the awards here. And you can't give the awards to everyone. You just can't.
It just doesn't work that way.
You can't do it. No, there is no trophy for second place.
Well, there is in the Olympics.
Well,
there's a silver medal.
Yeah, but what would you rather have? Silver medal or gold medal?
Well, of course you'd rather have the gold, but is silver better than nothing?
It's better than bronze. And bronze,
exactly.
Whatever. I guess you kind of stumped me on there. But anyways, let's get to the National League Silver Sluggers here. For catcher, Wilson Ramos of the Nationals takes the award there. He had an incredible year. Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs takes the first base. Daniel Murphy, an MVP candidate, took the award at the second base position. Then we got Nolan Arenado out of the Rockies taking the award for the third base. He's been probably one of the best third basemen, all-around third baseman, I think, hitting, fielding, everything. Corey Seager, there's no surprise there. Shortstop, he won that award. And in the outfield, we got Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies, Giannis Cespedes of the Mets, and Christian Yelich. He had a pretty good year for the Marlins. And Jake Arrieta, of course, takes it for the pitchers. He is a pitcher that can rake.
Yeah, maybe Bumgarner as well, but he didn't have as good of an offensive year as he has in the past, so it goes to Arrieta. Nolan Arenado did announce he is going to be playing for the United States.
Yeah, he did. He did say that, yeah.
At the baseball classic coming up for the international play. So I guess that's a nice little thing for us Americans. Hopefully he can lead us. I don't really think we have much of a chance against a lot of the strong teams from Latin America, but hey.
I don't think we do either because
all you got to do is get in and then you never know.
I don't think that America has a really good chance because you don't really have a lot of the star Major League Baseball players that play in that tournament. I understand why they don't, but it's like I kind of like to compare it to before NBA kind of had before they had that dream team in the Olympics. They used to get torched. There was a lot of college kids that were play for the USA team in the Olympics, and they would just get torched by everyone. I kind of compare that to the baseball classic. They don't really have a lot of star power there in the American team.
It's like they kind of just like skip out on it, which is unfortunate. But
I kind of understand why, because you play such a long season. Why do you want to play like more baseball? Don't you want your body to relax? I understand the reason why, but it is kind of unfortunate we don't get to see the star, players in America.
Well, we will see Nolan Arenado. He is signing up to play probably third base, as you would imagine he does in the majors for the Rockies. But so there's your Silver Sluggers for the American League side and the National League side. We will take our last break. Just a short segment, but then we'll have a nice little one next. We'll take our last break, and then we'll talk about the Cy Young Award finalists, give our little predictions, and we have a pitcher that's formerly of the Mets moving in to a new place, in a new home, in a new stadium in Atlanta. So we'll be right back, guys, at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back into the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. Before we end the show, going to be talking about the Cy Young Award finalists. The award will be announced tonight for the American League and the National League. So we'll give our quick predictions and let you know who the finalists are. We did it last week, a couple weeks ago, but we'll sort of go more in depth. I kind of have a change of heart on mine on the National League side, so we'll have to wait and see. But first off, Jeremiah, Bartolo Colon, who we absolutely love. He's been around almost as long as we've been alive. He has a new team. He's going to a new stadium, and a stadium obviously brand new for Atlanta, moving out of Turner Field. Bartolo Colon, $12.5 million for a one-year contract at 42 years old. Really, honestly, I'm really surprised. I wouldn't think in the world to give him that. He's probably going to be a number 5 starter. But the funny thing is about Turner Field.
Yeah, it's
so I'll let you say this.
Pretty amazing stats. Bartolo Colon pitched. I think he pitched the first day. Turner Field open.
Oh, that just makes it even better.
I think he did, and Turner Field is now closing. He did pitch for the Braves. He's now going back to the Braves, and he's going to pitch at the new stadium. Turner Field has only been around for like 20 years, so the dude literally outlasted a stadium. That's amazing.
That shows you how long how long did Jamie Moyer play for until he was like 50? Like, the pitchers can, if they stay healthy, pitchers can literally pitch forever. Because you'll lose your velocity and everything, but then you have to just figure out different ways to do it. Get more movement in your pitches. But, I mean, he literally outlasted a stadium. And it's not like the stadium had, like, malfunctions, like an earthquake or something, as to where it took damage and they had to totally revamp. They just up and designed a brand new ballpark because, the one was getting kind of old, outdated. This guy outlasted a stadium. This guy outlasted a ballpark in the majors. Like, that is
a ballpark that's been around
gosh.
A little bit shorter time span than we've both been alive. Because we're in our mid-20s. I'm assuming that you are too.
Oh, no, I'm 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you don't sound like it.
I just look old.
Like that. That reminded me of that one scene on the Benchwarmers when they,
Oh, he has a little crayon.
Yeah,
I'm 12.
I'm 12, and
it's like a $10 bill. And he's like, well, he's got documentations, I gotta let him play. And it's like this grown-up dad.
I love
that movie.
That reminded me of that scene.
It's a good movie. Good baseball movie, too.
Yeah,
I like how you transition there.
I know, I had to.
But yeah, so this guy outlasted a whole entire stadium. Like, I mean, that's pretty crazy, I think. But anyways, let's shift over to the Cy Young Award finalists. Tonight, the award will be announced for the American League and National League, as I mentioned. Jeremiah, you've been doing the National League, so why don't you go right ahead?
Okay. For the National League, we do have Kyle Hendricks, John Lester, and Max Scherzer as the finalists here. I believe I said Kyle Hendricks was going to win it. I think that was my pick last week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Kyle Hendricks, 16-8 record, 2.13 ERA. He's also got 170 strikeouts, 30 games started, 31 total, 190 innings. So I said Hendricks as well, but you know what? I really want to switch to Lester now. When you look at the numbers, Lester 19 wins to 16 for Hendricks, 5 losses for Lester as opposed to 8 for Hendricks. The ERAs are similar. Hendricks 2.13, Lester 2.44. And for me, I kind of want to sway away from Hendricks because of his record on the road. His home record and his away record not even remotely close. So he was racking up a lot of great performances at Wrigley Field, and then away from there, just wasn't the same guy. I think Scherzer's obviously a finalist, but I don't really give him much of a shot at all. 2.96 ERA, 20-7 record. He does have the most strikeouts in the league at 284, so that's one thing to sort of help him out in that instance. But I want to go with Lester now. I think it comes down to the two Cubs pitchers. I want to say Lester, more wins, less losses, ERA similar, more strikeouts, and more innings pitched. And I think the away record for Hendricks is going to kind of hurt him. So I want to say Lester now.
I really want to say Lester too, but I'm going to have to stick to my gut. I'm going to say that Kyle Hendricks wins this in a close race. I think it's going to be very close between Hendricks and Lester. Lester really deserves the award. Hendricks, I think he deserves the award too. He won that ERA title very comfortably. I think the fact that his emergence in the Cubs rotation was huge for Chicago. I'm going to stick with Hendricks because that's what I said originally. I don't want to flip-flop to another player.
Yeah, I said Hendricks as well, but I want to go to Lester now.
I want to say it, but no, I already picked Hendricks to win it.
Okay, well, I think one of us will be right. I don't give – obviously, Scherzer a great year. He had a 20-strikeout game, but I don't think he has much of a shot in this instance. His numbers just don't really add up to the others. So moving over to the American League side, the 3 finalists are Rick Porcello of Boston, Corey Kluber of the Indians, as well as Justin Verlander of the Tigers. So Porcello, the most wins in the majors, 22, with only 4 losses, ERA of 3.15, so it's not too terrible, but it's not anything standoutish like on the National League side. 189 strikeouts in 223 innings pitched. I think he's probably your favorite, and I expect him to win. Kind of by default, 22-4, the record's there, but I feel like it's kind of skewed because of how good Boston's offense was. He got a ton of run support. ERA of 3.15, like I said, not terrible, but it's not nothing really standoutish. Look at Kluber, 18-9, 3.14 ERA, and then you go down to Verlander, 16-9 with 3.04 ERA. I think Porcello just gets it because of that gap with wins and losses. Kind of by default. For me, I'm just still really upset that Zach Britton's not even a finalist. The closer for the Orioles.
That's very disappointing to me as well. But the key stat here is the 22 wins. His wins above replacements. That's I always look at that. It's 5.2. It's tied for the best mark in the American League with Verlander and Chris Sale. So, he's very important to that team. I think he's a clear-cut winner because, usually a lot of Cy Young voters go to 20-game winners that are on a team that won its division. I know he got a lot of run support, but you also have to keep the team from scoring, and I think that's what he did. I think that's what he did. I wouldn't. I would give Corey Kluber some consideration as well. I wouldn't be shocked if Corey Kluber was the winner here. I think it's very unlikely, but I think Ray Porcello is the guy. I think he is the guy. He is the guy.
I agree. Kluber and Porcello differential in ERA by 0.01, 3.14 for Kluber, 3.15 for Porcello. So the ERAs are practically identical. Kluber does have more strikeouts, about 40 more almost. So I think that maybe a little bit edge, but the record's just not the same. 18-9 to 22-4. The guy only lost four games all year out of 33 starts. So I guess you got to give it to him by default. But on the American League side, no pitcher really stood out to me this year as fantastic. On the NL side, you could have had 10 different names if everyone was healthy and keeping up their play. So
I think if Jose Fernandez, if he was still alive, I think he would have been maybe a finalist too. I think he had a really good year.
Fernandez, 16-8, 2.86 ERA, 253 strikeouts. So possible, 29 starts compared to the others. He would have had at least another 2 or 3 if he had not died. So possible, but maybe we'll have to just leave it up to guessing now because we know what the reality is.
We play the guessing game now, Ben. The guessing game.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we'll update you on next week's show. We have the MVP awards to announce. That'll be announced tomorrow on Thursday, so we'll recap on that as well. I think we both agree with Altuve and Bryant.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Chris Bryant and Altuve. I wouldn't be surprised if Altuve doesn't win it, but I think he should win it. Bryant, I would be surprised if he doesn't win it. I just think that would be the biggest snub ever. But Chris Bryant's going to win it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it'll be KB. So we will talk about that.
KB. I like that nickname, KB.
Well, yeah, Chris Bryant.
I know.
But so anyways, we will talk about that next week's show as well as the Cy Young Awards and anything else that comes up like Michael Fulmer, the Plumber, or anyone else. So we will be ending the show today. My name is Ben.
And I'm Jeremiah, and I am actually not here next week.
Yes, you will be obviously in Fresno, your hometown, the week of Thanksgiving, actually the day before. So Jeremiah will not be here, so I will be riding solo in the studio talking about baseball all by myself without my my good friend Jeremiah. So I will be just having to do it all, but that's okay because you will be missed.
You
and
got
you will
it.
be back.
Don't worry.
I'm not worried.
You got this, man.
You will be back next week after that. So
I will.
So until then, this is Jeremiah's couple weeks. He will be without you now, but I will be back next week. And we are signing off here at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. Although it is the off season, you still have awards to talk about. Maybe you can watch some old games, however you surf, maybe some good baseball movies. Jeremiah mentioned the bench warmers, so there's a lot of other good baseball movies. But anyways, we'll be out of here, guys. Signing off at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. Have a good day, and we will see you next week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.